I'm just coming to you guys and just want to talk about just certain things in life, like relationships and things of that nature. But today, I really want to focus on relationships and things that I believe, from my own experiences, what it should be about as far as what's the good and what's the bad you should be able to tolerate, and things you shouldn't be able to tolerate, and things that you know are toxic and yet you're still thinking and hoping there's some change will take place, or even you can make that change. If you're the toxic person, that's one thing, but if the other person is causing the toxicness in the relationship, there is no such thing as change. I'm a believer, and I'm a very strong believer in not believing in change, not in a person. A person is built by default a certain way, and you have to know what that default is. Even your own default in a relationship, you have to know what will make things mesh with you and what won't make things mesh with you. So you really have to learn those traits and trust and believe. It's not that easy. So I would just like to talk to you, and maybe you can be familiar with it, or you might have even witnessed it and say that, yeah. Or, like, no, everybody has an opinion, but these are just my own experiences. The things that I do and the things that I say on here is strictly my own opinion, and it's not the views of no one else. And no one is endorsing me to do or say any of these things. It's things that I just wanted to talk about because my whole life I've always written things down. Since I was like 11 years old, I had diaries. And it's amazing that life is this way. And you really be surprised at some of the things and the outcome. And you get to witness some things in relationships, and you really can learn from them. So never be the type person that said, I wasted my time, because there's no such thing as wasted time. It really isn't. It really isn't wasted time. It really is something to learn in it, whether you got the meaning of that learning thing that happened or you didn't. There was something in it. You might have missed it, but trust me. And you live long enough, you can see further on in other relationships why it happened, or even, oh, I know that this is real familiar to me. You understand what I'm saying? So when you do things like that and you say things like that, you like, I get it now. I honestly get it. And I do believe that God sets it up that way. It's almost like you can almost see how it plays out. You're like, wow, but you're not even at the end of your life journey yet, so you really don't know what the end is. But you can kind of see why you got even led up to this point in life in a certain relationship. I'm the type person, always had longevity relationships. When I'm with someone, I'm with them. You know, if I give my all, and I don't try to be with someone long, it just happens to fall that way. So that's the beauty of that. So I do like that part of me, but at the same time, I feel like I've set back and allowed so much to take place for whatever the reason. Maybe thinking change or whatever. That's why I'm an adamant believer that change is not in the equation of a relationship. I know people can set it up in the very beginning to make it seem like it's more than what it is. You know, a man will tell you anything. I can't speak for significant others, such as people like in same-sex relationships. I don't know if they do the same thing. As far as like when two women are together, do the woman, when she approached the other woman, do she also sell the dream like a lot of men do? I don't know. But speaking from a heterosexual relationship, I know a lot of men sell the dream. And honestly, I think we all kind of sell a dream in the beginning. It's because it's all good in the beginning. It's something new, it's something fresh. You feel like you can breathe, you know. It's all like these exciting things. You honestly feel like there's a future in it. But never jump the gun too quick in no type of relationship with nobody. Don't think too far ahead. Just let it happen, because that person, if you let it happen, you'll start to see maybe traits you will and will not like in a person kind of early on in a relationship if you just let it be. If you're pushing it and hoping for more, you'll start to see things that's really not there. That's why people use the termination, love is blind. Love is not blind. Love is very seeing all. I think they use the word love is blind because the unconditional love. Like, no matter what a person do, you still love them. But there's a difference between love and tolerance. I can love you to death, but I don't have to tolerate you because of certain things that you do that I'm not comfortable with. You know, that's the biggest law and the biggest thing you have to do in the Bible is to love those who don't love you back. Now, how hard is that? It's easy to love anybody that loves you back because the same. And that's what we get out of relationships. And the one thing I've learned as I've gotten older is that I'm more for the third world way of living in the relationships versus the Western world that we live in, because this world over here tells you you should be in love and then get married. I do believe it should be prearranged. And let me enlighten you on why I think prearrangement is better, because you have other people who are grooming you for another person who's being groomed also for them. So it's like they're grooming these two people because they know they're going to mesh. They're going to get together. And then after they are married, they grow on one another. And then the love kicks in. Because if you look at their way of doing things and the way we do things, we have an over 50% rate of divorce. And they don't have it really basically at all. And it's not because the laws of the land don't tolerate divorce. It's just that they already have been programmed and groomed for one another. So it's gonna work regardless. It's gonna work. They're gonna mesh. They're gonna love each other. It's gonna work. But we believe in the love first and then get married, and that's our way of living. And we have programmed ourselves to believe that, and that's why I think we set ourselves up for failure, because love is not blind. Love is very seeing all and knowing all. I believe. Now, when you look at it as unconditional, no matter what a person do, it's blind, you can't see it, and and you just love them regardless. Oh, I don't know nobody who loves nobody, like that after they've done something really crazy, first and foremost. But I believe love is seeing all and knowing all, meaning that you see these flaws, and you understand the flaws, and you still love the person. So, that's a choice, though. Don't get me wrong. That's not something that you're just like, oh my gosh, I gotta love him regardless, because human nature tells us different. When anything is not right with us or doesn't feel right to us, naturally we react or we feel a certain way. And that's any culture of living. I mean, we're human. That's our human side. That's why it's one of the hardest rules to apply in the Bible, because loving someone who might have done something really tragic, like someone who murdered somebody, you gotta love this person. You like, oh hell no, go to hell, that kind. And we really feel that way, and it's an emotion, and God gave us that emotion. So we gotta learn how to. As you get older, you're gonna learn how to tune it in. And I'm not perfect. I'm still learning, best to believe. But I just up to this point, what I have learned, those are honestly my conditions on the love and relationship thing. How I feel like people should definitely set this thing up from the very beginning before you even get into any type of relationship with anybody. Most of us be like, we're going to take it slow. We're going to learn the person and all that. But you ask yourself this question. You as a person, do you genuinely know what you want? Because I feel like if you know what you want, you're not going to settle regardless. And believe me, I've settled in nothing but relationships. And everybody can take it back to maybe because she didn't have a good relationship with her dad. I don't know what that is. I really don't. But it's something that we are looking for, and we're trying to find it in someone else. And when we cannot find it in that person, we're disappointed. And we start to do the blame game. We're not thinking it's us. It's them. It's really not them. It's us. Because, see, they came into the relationship the way they are. We came in with a whole different perspective. With the blinders on, the whole love is blind thing, we put the blinders on our eyes, and once we did that, like I said, when we feel like they stepped out of order, which they never did. That was just who they were when they came in a relationship. We just didn't see it because we came in with blinders on. So now the blinders are lifted. We're disappointed in that person when we should be disappointed in ourselves. I think we should always take a look at who we are. Don't get me wrong. There are people out there who genuinely do things to you and bring out the worst in you, especially in relationships. And that's something I want to hit on in relationships, because you don't want to be in something where someone brings out the worst in you. I'm the type person, I don't like that side of me. I don't like when someone makes me feel angry all the time and my mouth is always stuck out, or I'm always feeling a certain way when I'm around you, or you just, not just always like that with you, but just you can bring that part out in me. And I'm talking about the worst that no one else sees. I have to check that. And I do that in other people. I've been in relationships where if I can bring this out in you as a person, I don't want to be with you, because if I bring this out in you, then what else will you do to me? Because now I'm bringing out the worst in you. Now you want to maybe try to put your hands on me, or, you're trying to be too controlling. It's just too much. No, if I bring this out in you, I don't want it, and we have to really check ourselves. I'm a submissive person, but I'm not submissive in everything. You're not going to have me doing anything you want me to do, but I am the type person that will try to compromise. And I tend not to draw men in that's more compromising with me. They don't meet me halfway. I gotta come all the way over, or it's just not gonna happen. And this is where I had to check myself, because if I don't, I'm gonna be enslaved in this relationship. And that's exactly what I have done for years. I'm not complacent. I become used to the form of abuse. And the form of abuse come in many fashions. It does. It comes in mentally, physically, emotionally. It all can be very draining. And a lot of people look at it, if it's a physical thing, like why does she stay? Because it's so prevalent. Because maybe he or she is putting their hands on you and you got bruises, and you're like, oh, you still stay. And we get angry with people like that because we don't understand them. But at the same time, there are other sources of abuse, all sorts of abuse. I mean, I think, honestly, the emotional and psychological abuse is almost like the worst abuse, because it's more in depth of a hurt. And because you endure that type of abuse, when the heartbreak kicks in, it's a lot more worse. And it's a longer period of getting over it. And no one can tell you when to get over something. Don't ever let no one say that to you. Get over it. It's been so-and-so. Your time is your time. Your hurt is your hurt. One person can hurt this way and another person can hurt that way. And one can seem a lot more not so significant. If it was you, you'd be like, I would have been over that. And then over here, you'd be like, okay, I understand that. But that's not our call to make that decision. I've seen people, some over the most trivial things, be upset forever. I'm like, man, you really can carry a grudge. But I had to learn in the process of living that that's just who you are. I mean, that's not my call to say, you need to get over it. I'm tired of this. That's not my call. You have to get tired of this. And then you get over it, and then you get past it. So, yeah, you really have to you're going to weigh it out as you get older. You're going to see how life kind of plays out for you. But I've really learned a lot in relationships, because I've been in a lot of hemmed up ones. And I've been in some fairly good ones, too. And I feel like we all have a part to play. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong at all. I don't like people to play the blame game. That's something I don't do. I don't be like, you did this and you did that and you made me this way. You don't make me nothing. I make me. That's my choice. I have a choice to stay and I have a choice to walk away. And that's something a lot of women have to learn. That is really a thing that we don't have in us. We are more taught and programmed to believe to just, the longer you stay in anything, the better it'll get. And that's not true, because if it's already toxic, it ain't going to get much better. And we start to tell ourselves in our mind that if we invest so much in the relationship, we deserve. Get off of it. First and foremost, I don't care if a person is treating you bad. I don't care how much money they got, whatever they do when they're really good. You don't deserve that. You deserve to have it all. And you have to learn to tell yourself that. It's really a mind game that you have to play with yourself, because people, we are not My niece always uses this terminology. I am not an island. I don't stand alone. We need people, which that's what she means by that. We need people. This is true, but we don't need toxic people. You have to, but you got to take the good with the bad, because there's always going to be people around you that's negative. But you got to really learn to program yourself to believe or get out of it. Or if you have to be around it, like in a workplace or things of that nature, you really, really have to learn how to filter through and say, no, you're not the one I want to be around. You're catty, you're this, you're that. I don't want to be around you. So you really have to tell yourself these things. And it's a real learning process. I always try to teach my daughter this, you know. She's another one who likes to get in relationships and don't realize that they're toxic until it's like too late, and then she's damaged. And you really are damaged. A lot of people don't understand, but it's a healing process. Anything that's damaged can be fixed. But it is a process, and it takes a while. But it's very hard to do that when you're still in the toxicity of the relationship. I can't expect you to get better when you're still in it. Even right now, you might be in a good moment. The relationship is still toxic. And we as women are famous for that. We try to look at the good versus the bad. But that's a really good example if you're gonna get out of a relationship that's toxic. You need to really write that down. I've done that. I have done that. And it does work. You really get to see who you are as a person and how much you are sitting there taking unnecessarily. Even on your own part. Like I said, when I say your own part, meaning that person has brought out the worst in you. I don't want anybody making me feel a certain way or doing something to me that makes me feel this way. That's uncomfortable. That's not a happy or good feeling for me. And I need to check that. And if it keeps happening over and over again, that's a pattern. That means it's going to keep happening. You're going to have moments where it's good and then the moments when it's bad. And when they say take the good with the bad, when I say that, what my definition of that is that it's there. It's nothing I can do about it. But I don't have to tolerate it. I mean, like I said, I can go somewhere and someone's acting real belligerent. They may not be acting belligerent to me, but at that moment I have to be in that place. That's what I mean by taking the good with the bad. That means I have to be in there, listening to that moment. That's you. But I don't have to tolerate it. That's you. Once I walk out that door, that's gone. I'm done with that. You know what I'm saying? So, but when you're in something that's really toxic, then you really need to check yourself and make sure that that's not a place or a thing you need to be in, because it starts to deteriorate in you, and physically your body it'll take a toll on your body. You'll get high blood pressure. You know, a lot of people, like eating disorders, they won't eat, they will eat. I'm one of them people. I won't eat if I'm real upset. I will eat too much if I'm upset. It's just extreme for me. And I'm one of those people. I'm not bipolar. You know how they say bipolar people have a very high and a very low. There's like no balance thing, and that's me. I'm learning balance in life, and I need that. I need balance in life. I like my walls to be balanced. I've always been this way, and I never really noticed it until not too long ago. It's like, no, that doesn't look right. That looks uneven. What is that? Get that right, you know. And I'm like that, and I'm like that in a relationship. If I give you something, I want you to give me, and I'm not talking about the same thing. If I give you what you need, then you need to give me what I need, and that will keep us both satisfied. You know what I'm saying? But if whatever you're giving me is making you uncomfortable, then you don't need to be with me. If whatever I'm giving you is making me uncomfortable, I don't need to be with you. These are the kind of things that all of us need to check in relationships, because if we don't, we're going to end up in something very toxic and very, very uncomfortable. So we really need to understand what we're getting ourselves into or what we've already gotten ourselves into. And ladies and gentlemen, believe me, because you invested a lot of years, that does not give you the right to want to stay in that. I mean, if it's been what they call ratchet or crazy all these years, get out. Get out. And it did used to mind blow me when I hear people in 20-year relationships breaking up. I'm like, what caused a 20-year relationship to break up? Was it someone cheated? You know, that's number one right there. Everybody think, okay, that person must have cheated. What happened? I mean, 20 years after all these years? Why? They feel like after 20 years you can't get it right, then you ain't never going to get it right. That's not true. Because sometimes getting it right means to just get out of the relationship. It's not working. You've given it your all. You've tried. You're tired. Because that's one thing it will do. It will exhaust you. It will make you feel like, oh my goodness, I have got to get out of this. I can't take it no more. It takes its toll on you here, and it takes its toll on you everywhere else. Because if this isn't right, it's a domino effect. Your whole body will start to act up and act foolish. And that's my point about relationships. The thing is, you really have to take your time with it and know what you want before you even get with anybody. You know how we meet men and be like, I'm going to take it easy, I'm going to do whatever, but you have to really, not only that, you have to have your mind right before you even met this guy. You really do. You have to already have your priorities in order. You have to I'm not going to tolerate this, I'm not going to do this, I'm willing to do that. If he's not like that, or this, that, and the third, then those are the things that come with you when you hook up with someone or you meet somebody, and then hopefully it will be a better transition in a relationship. No relationship is perfect. You're going to go through your ups and downs. But when you go through them downs, you don't want them to be really extreme downs. I'm talking about the kind that just will leave you scarred and hurt along the way. You don't want that. Make sure that you have somebody in your life that really has your back. And when I say that, when things happen, I mean just in general speaking, like people pass away in your family, friends pass away. When these type things happen, you want that person there with you. You want to be able to be comforted when things like this go on, not just at home, but you want these people to go to the funerals with you. If you're showing your support, that they should show you their support. And the same with them. I mean, if something was to happen to someone in their family or friends, of course you want them there. They want you there with them. Of course, I mean, it's a comfort thing. It helps to kind of go through that, because I'm the type person, it's really hard for me to do funerals, but I do them. And it's very hard. I get very upset. So it's like, not upset where you see people acting up in a funeral, not like that. It's just, you can really see it on my face. I'm stressed and I'm in here. I really don't want to be in here. But I do it to pay my respects, and I do it even for other people. And it's not easy, but when you have that circle of trust and love around you, the transition into it is a lot more easier. The anxiety isn't nowhere near as high. And this is what I mean by something you want in a relationship. These are things that I want in a relationship. I can tell you, and I think, generally speaking, most people will want that. And also, you want a person in your life where you really can be vulnerable. And what I mean by vulnerable, that means by all means necessary, whatever the mood is that you're in, you can be able to express it to that person without them trying to shut you down. It's another way of expressing it, of course. I'm the type of person, I'm a woman. I'm hormonal. I'm moody. Every woman is. I don't care how old she is. Every woman has that. We all change our minds. One minute we can be the most sociable person, and the next minute you don't hear anything from us. That's just how we are, and we're really built like that. It's not just it's not every other one. Most women are like that. Some women can find that spot to be alone. Some women are just in a position where they just can't be alone. You might have kids, husbands, nieces, nephews, everybody running around the house, and you in that mood, and then that can turn a little dysfunctional because you want to be to yourself and you just can't get it, and that adds on to whatever you're already going through. That's one of the things you tell yourself. And then I'll never have no time. You start to just rankle. You want that person. You want that person. You trust them to that degree where you can they can see the worst side of you, and they can see the best side of you. What I mean by the worst side, say like you went to work and someone really pissed you off, and that happens. Everybody goes through that. Everybody. Believe it. There ain't no person. You can sit here and say you love the hell out your job, and you could possibly love your job. That's a good thing. But you ain't going to tell me every day you go to work every day. Nothing gets on your nerve. Something or someone is going to get on your nerve. You come home, you vent, you rant, you know. Or even if that person made you angry, you should be able to express your feelings without being shut down or being accused of starting something. No, it's expressing. I thought the communication lines, as long as they're open, no matter how they're open, we can get past some things. We can't get past not everything that you're saying and everything that I'm saying. I'm being shut down. That's not fair. You know, you have to be able to express yourself. If you cannot be at your most vulnerable state around a person, then that's not the person for you. This person should be able to take that good with you and that bad about you. You know what I'm saying? So that means You had to know this up front about this person before you even got in a relationship. And that's where it messes things up, because it's like, oh, I didn't know that person was that way. Now, we're not talking about no, like the movies and the shows we see where, this person is just charming all the way around. They got this whole other secret life. And then you find out and then you didn't know. Because that's a two-faced psychopath, they call it. They call it a psychopath. A psychopath is a person, a sociopath, sociopath. It's the type person that actually is very sociable. And they're not even aware of what they do. It's like, it's just who they are. They're social. They put names on everything these days. I was told, it's crazy the names that they're putting on things, but I'm kind of glad because they finally got some names, because I'm like, is it just me? They call it a bitch face. A woman who looks like she's intimidating to other people all the time, and they look at you as you're mean and you're not sociable, and they never even spoke to you. They just assuming just on your looks that you're this way. I've always had that with me, and I never, like I always tell people, I never had a problem getting married. I never had a problem meeting nobody. But people tend to think I'm mean because of just the way I look. And they said it's a bitch face, but the bitch face has a good side, meaning that your face don't crack as much. As you age, you don't get as many wrinkles and things like that. So they say. I don't know. But I'm glad they finally got a name to it, because it was just the way I looked. I mean, don't make no assumptions on, oh, I don't like her because I don't like the way she looks. She looks mean. She looks like shit. If you say something to her, she'd be like, what the hell are you saying something to me? You don't really know nobody that does that, really. And if you do, good luck. I mean, don't make no assumptions on me. I don't like when people do that, but I've had that my whole life. But I don't want to get off subject. But my thing is about the relationships is that you really got to know these things. And this is strictly not saying something to you to make it feel like, like I know something. I'm just going on really my own experience. So that is what I know as far as me. And I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that have that common ground. A person, you go to a hospital, you get sick, and your significant other isn't there. What the hell is that? Don't ever let them tell you that there's an excuse behind that. Only excuse behind that is that, honestly, you just couldn't get there, maybe because of traffic or something happened to them, or they not even in the town that you're in and they just can't get there. Because in all honesty, when you're sick, my mother told me that, if a person can't be with you when you sick, Kim, there is no need for them to be with you when you well. You really start to remember things, when things start to unfold in your life. I remember my mother telling me this, Mama said there'll be days like this, you can run into people. Don't let them tell you excuses, especially when there's constant excuses, when there's always a reason on why they don't do what they do. Once again, you should have known that up front. But the sickness part is a little tricky, but most people will tell you what they about right up front, but we choose to ignore it, or we just choose to so-called accept it at the moment because we're in a good moment. No, check that. Even if you're in a good moment, go home, make a checklist. Like, did he just say that when his mother got sick, he couldn't go there because he couldn't stand seeing his mother sick? Okay, check. I get that you can't stand to see your mother sick. I get that. That's a hard thing, but you really have to deal with certain things in life, and it's just life. You're going to get dealt it, and you got to either learn how to deal with it, or you're not going to deal with it at all. Now, if you choose not to deal with it, then in my opinion, if you were in my relationship with me, I don't want to deal with you. Now, there are some people that may have that same thing in common. They both may feel that way. They both may, I can't be around sick people. It does something to me psychologically and physically, and they both feel that way. So I get that. That's a mesh that works. What I don't get is when people say, once again, here comes the balancing act. I don't understand how they say opposites attract, meaning, okay, if I like flowers and you don't, does that make us an attraction? I get when they say you're in and I'm out, so when we come together, we match. I get that. But I don't believe opposites attract. I believe the attraction, what they call the law of attraction, which I have followed that. I try anyway. That's another transition in my life. I'm still working on it. I believe on that note, then that means that we have to have that thing in common. Because in the beginning of the relationship, most of us say, oh, I got so much in common with that person. We like this, we like that, we like that. But then they say opposites attract. How confusing is that? So a lot of the information that we have been programmed to believe is very confusing. So now it's already in our mind and we don't even know it. So when it comes into focus, we really don't see it for what it is until it backs up and we can see the clear picture. And we're like, oh, I get it. But that's, like I said, it's a process. It took me years to get stuff like that. I am not a guru in this world with this stuff, but this is just my own experiences, and I really have learned a lot from past relationships. I've been through so much in relationships after relationships. I'm really the humble one in the relationship. A lot of people, you let them tell the story, I got the mouth. But of course, you back a dog into a wall, into a corner, and a timid dog. You can push a timid dog in a corner, but if you want to keep, pushing him in that corner, he's gonna come out vicious. And that's what people do to me. And then when I react, they shine the light on the negative part of me. They like, oh, I'm always like that. No, I'm not always like that, first and foremost. I'm only like that when I'm pushed into a corner and you make me feel this way. And that's where it's like, if you keep pushing me into a corner and bringing out that viciousness in me, then I won't be with you because you're bringing it out too much, and I don't like that person in me. I don't want to be that person, because when people shine that light, and they do, they tend to shine a light on a lot of the negative stuff. They're going to do that. And you really got to be mindful of people that do that, because that's another toxic thing in a relationship. You're like, I didn't do nothing. Now you shining this light in my face like I did something. I didn't know. Like you're being interrogated for who you are. When you can't be who you are in a relationship or anything, no. You know how some, and I don't like how the world is in balance with women. It never was. It probably never would, at least not in my lifetime. It probably will never be. You know how we always got to do whatever we got to do to make our men want us and want to stay with us. But I never, ever hear. If it's out there, I would love to hear it, because, what men do for us. No one says this. No, do you ever hear where men get together like, I do what I gotta do to keep my woman. She like flowers, I buy her flowers. She want to go to the movies, that's her thing. Whether I'm tired of it, I've been a little, I may not want to go all the time. Go with your girlfriend sometime, but I take her, that's what she like. You very seldom will hear a man go there. It's always the woman gotta keep fit. The woman gotta, oh gosh, don't crack. Like we're not aging. Like I thought aging was a good thing. I thought that means you're still living. Youth is your shortest lifespan. It's once that youth is gone, it's fleeting. It's gone. And you just got to make the best of it. But you can't stay young forever. So just get over that part, really, because that's not a learning process. That's just something you just know. It's a fact. And for youth to think that that's that's their era and they're gonna be there forever. No, you're gonna be in the same position we all. It's this life playing itself out, and it's the circle of life. The way you started is the way you end up if you live long enough. And I used to tell my students that. I used to tell them, I used to do this little 1-hour class every Wednesday where I used to work. And I was really hesitant in the beginning to even do it. But I used to tell them about the circle of life. So this is the kind of programming that they put in us so that we can believe that we're never supposed to age. When since black women needed butts, honestly. There's some. But it was always one for the other at one time. Now you gotta have both. The one good thing I like about it is that the voluptuous have come back. A matter of fact, I don't know if voluptuous was ever out. At least not in my lifetime. I remember hearing about the Marilyn Monroe days. They used to love voluptuous women. So it becomes a fad. It's like, it's crazy. But it's always a fad, mainly with women. Y'all don't notice that. It's always us. We gotta do what's right. And women, we are our worst enemies when it comes to relationships, because we will tell women things that we should not be telling them. I am a stickler. Never tell a woman what one woman won't do, another woman will. Don't tell a woman that, because once again, you're setting her up to believe that she got to be like in a slave type mentality just to keep her man, because what she won't do, another woman will. My thing, this is how I look at it. If I won't do it, and especially if I'm against it, then you don't need to be with me. These are the kind of things you need to check. And if you can find a woman that can do those things, that's fine. But best believe there is no like no perfection in that either, because once you get there, we are programmed to always want something and keep striving for something. So you can have everything and never be content. And that's just how we are. We have to learn that too. We have to learn how to just be content. I find myself sometimes like, if I'm just sitting at my job and I'm like, you know what? There's nothing going on in my relationship. There's nothing going on with my children. There's nothing going on with this job. And I find myself and I was like, thank you, Lord. You know, it's just nothing going on. I like that. It's that I found my content moment. But that's the thing. It's a moment. And I'm waiting just to get there. And that's where my relationship with God, I'm still in the process with that. I'm in a process with all sorts of relationships with all sorts of things. But especially in a significant other relationship, because that's where I struggled at for years, and I've learned a lot from also in the years, you know, cheating. Let's go there. I was asked this question years ago. They was like, do you believe everybody cheats? Yes, I do believe everybody cheats. And this is my definition. Here is the balance. Now, I don't need you guys to be like, you know, no, everybody, no, you have cheated on something. And see, watch how you ask that question and give your definition of what it means behind it. Don't just say yes or no, whatever. Even if you say no, give your reason why you believe it. I believe a lot of people say no because, especially women, we've been in relationships where almost every person we've ever been with cheated on us for whatever reason, you know. But my belief in everybody cheats is yes, I have cheated. I have cheated on people. I have cheated in certain things that I feel like I should have did that. You know, not cheated like on a test. You know, I feel like everybody cheats. And I think in relationships, everybody cheats. Everybody cheats somehow in one of those relationships. I've lived long enough. I had a few relationships. So one of those relationships, maybe before I even got married, I could have cheated. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, in general speaking, or just a boyfriend-girlfriend thing. Like, you get tired of that person cheating on you, you cheat on them. You know, that kind of stuff. Everybody will cheat because you get tired. You get fed up. There's no one can tell me that they never cheated. There was never, like, when you was in high school, you had a boyfriend, and there was this other guy to come along, and he's cute, and he's showing you all his attention, and you started getting some attention. And I'm talking, it might be physical. You cheated. You know, that's my definition of you cheated. Not every relationship that you get in and every relationship that you're in, you will cheat. That's not, no. I don't believe everybody does that. I do believe that even men that are womanizers, they've been in some relationship or form, may not have lasted long. They never cheated on that person. They might have gotten out of it before they cheated. You know what I'm saying? I do believe everybody cheats sometime in their life. That's what I mean by everybody cheats. That does not define, you know, how most women, and that's another thing, we tell other women, girl, all men cheat. What? Don't tell a woman that. She not only loses hope, it's like she has to settle for that. And then you're setting her up, once again, not only to be so submissive to she's in a slave-like mentality, but now you're setting her up to just deal with the cheating if it comes into play. You know, you used to hear back in the day how married women knew their husbands was cheating and still kept home or whatever. But there's a lot of stories behind stories that they don't tell you. I've read this story that was so bizarre, but I don't remember exactly who it was. And all along, you know, she played this housewife. They set it up that way. They let you think, you know, like this woman, you know, she was into her kids, she was into her husband. She knew her husband had like this other family somewhere else. And guess what? She had a man on the side all along. And that's what I'm saying. Everybody cheats. People, we're not that foolish. We're not. That's why I say love is not blind. It's very knowing and seeing. Now, did the man or the woman really love them? There's a reason why people stay in relationships. I'm not going to stay in a relationship because of no children. My children will be okay. And I'm the type of woman. I don't hold children as pawns to get my way with you. If you're not going to take care of your kids, that's on you. You know, I'm going to take care of my kids. You can see your kids anytime you want. My thing is, if you don't have no money, I'm fine with that. Just spend time with your children. That's all I want. They need that. All children need both parents in their lives. I'm not one of them ones, oh, he acting like a fool. I don't want him around because of that. Only time I would restrict my children from seeing my kid's father was because he was on drugs and he was around the lifestyle. That The only thing, he couldn't bring them around. But every time he actually asked for them, he got them. But I knew he knew the difference. But I would worry. It's like, oh my gosh, is he taking them somewhere? Because I knew his lifestyle, and I knew that people are crazy. They will do anything. They will do things to you with your children right there. They don't care. That did worry me. But he was smart enough to know that he really didn't take them nowhere. When I let him get the children, he would take them to the house, and he would spend time with them there. He really didn't take them out on the street. He took them to the circus once, and I was okay with that. But, I worried because I knew, he had a reckless lifestyle, and I didn't want my children not only to be exposed to it, I didn't want them to witness anything, and I couldn't have handled the fact that they became victim to something that he done. So that was my thing, but I was never the type woman who would use my children as pawns because you're not acting right. Just to get my way, to kind of puppeteer you. Like, I don't want my children around that woman. If you're with that woman, as long as she treats my kids with respect, I don't have a problem with that. As long as you know how to correct that if she does get out of line and say, this, that, and the third. That's your children. You are to defend them if she's wrong. Especially if she says something really ratchet out of her mouth she ain't got no business saying. That's one thing. But other than that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. I'm the type, a lot of people find it odd that I get along with my exes. It's over. You ain't my problem no more. We were friends prior to us hooking up. Why can't I be your friend now? I mean, and I've had some devastating blows with people doing things to me. This one particular past relationship, which was a marriage, it was wrecked. He cheated and he left. I mean, do you? I mean, I feel that way now, but at the moment, I really went through it really bad. But we're really good friends now. And people are like, how can you forgive him? How can forgiveness? I'm going to talk about that. That's a whole other genre, and I'm telling you, you're going to be really shocked at it. But at the same time, I mean, I'm over that. If you continue to hold that grudge years, that just says you're not past this relationship, that whatever that person done. And it left scars, of course. And what I mean by scars can be a good thing. It's a reminder of something that you don't want again. If I look down and I see that my wrist is cut, I try to cut my wrist. This is just a weird analogy, but my wrist is cut, and it didn't take my life, but it scared the hell out of me. You can best believe every time I see that scar, I'll be like, I will never do that again. And that's the kind of scarring some people leave on you in life, so that you can be reminded, like, I ain't doing this no more. And it red flags in other relationships. And I don't like when people say you bring the baggage. It's not a baggage. I'm bringing my learning experiences. If I see that where this is going, and it's almost going in the same direction as that past toxic relationship, that's a red flag. That's not, I'm bringing the baggage. The only baggage to me is when you bring up the relationship constantly, and that's something I don't do. Be honest with you, most people don't even know I'm married until they ask. That's none of your business until you see the ring. Oh yeah, I'm married. If I was to talk to someone, like, in depth like that, you would never know nothing about my husband, because that's none of your business. I'm not going to sit there and talk to you about him. That's none of your business, man nor woman. That's just how I am as a person. So you just got to be really mindful of certain things you say, certain things you do. Just, even in anger, you have to really, like, oh, I'm really pissed off right now. You got to, like, let me calm down. And I had a moment like that. And, you just have to be really careful in relationships. And don't let nobody tell you it's a baggage. If you know you're not bringing it up, and just when they're doing something and you're like, I feel this way, or you just trying to make me feel like how you felt in your past relationship, technically, they're bringing it up, but they're blaming it on you because you had the experience, because you were, I'm going to say it, foolish enough to tell them about your past. I heard that years ago, and it didn't register until years later, honestly. Women always told women, never tell a man about what another man did to you from the past relationship or why y'all broke up. That's excellent advice, ladies, because men has this manipulating way of doing or manipulating you around that very thing that happened to you and turning around and making it seem like it's your fault, knowing they doing it too. So you really gotta be mindful. Don't tell them anything. When they ask what broke you up, just say it was a mutual breakup. It's like, we just wanted different things. Don't ever tell them that they cheated on you. Don't ever tell them that you caught somebody with this, and you don't do that. Don't do that, because it's in the back of their mind. And it's like, and then especially if you stayed in a relationship for a while, even after that, and you know how we get to know somebody, and we start talking, and we're like, and then I can't believe, and then he going along with it, saying, or she, whoever, however the relationship is, they going along with it, like, I can't believe that you're such a good person. Why would somebody want to do? I can't believe it. Don't do it. It can be genuine for that moment, but don't do it, because later on down the line, they're gonna use that against you. You wouldn't even have bought that baggage in. That's what they call it. Even though you talked about it in the beginning and it was left there, they're gonna use that as an excuse, or whatever they're doing, they're gonna use that as the pawn to use it against you when your flags go up. Your not air quotes, but when your flags start going up, they're gonna be like, oh, you just compared. Don't know. First of all, there is no comparison. The one thing I've noticed with my pattern in relationships, I really don't have a pattern. You know how some people, when they date people, they all almost look alike. You be like, damn, she look like her. You're like, what's the difference? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not like that. If you looked at anybody from my past, all of them look very different. You got tall, dark, short, light, brown. They just all over the place, because I like change. So when I learned from the past relationship, it wasn't good for me. I'm stepping outside of this box. I'm going way out there. But also I'm a little restricted in my box. Let me retract that, because I try to tell my daughter to step outside the box. We come from the hood, and that's all we know. It's hood guys. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like when you go to college and things like that, you get to know a different genre of men, and then stepping outside your race. I mean, just to see if you like it, you do. You don't. That's fine. But give yourself that opportunity, and don't I only like this and I only like that as far as people's appearances. Now you can use that. Like, I can go back to the beginning of saying again, you can use that as I'm not tolerating an unfaithful person. I can forgive you, but I must move on. This is my rule. You set yourself up for that. You don't have to tell them that. It's none of their business. I'm not going to get in your face and say, I can't deal with no cheating man. I'm just talking to you and we're getting to know each other. I don't do the cheating thing. I'm not going to tell you that. I don't do the cheating thing. So I'm not going to do it. Now, you could be another type of woman or man. Okay. You kind of analyze why they might have cheated, even though there's genuinely no real excuse. But you might have told yourself this, and then after you've told yourself this, you've forgiven them. And once you've forgiven them and you moved on, you didn't bring it up. Bottom line, you didn't bring it up. You can't use it against them. You can't constantly say that you forgive them, but yet you throw it in their face every little chance you get. You can't do that. I mean, that can be annoying if you just flip the script and say it's you, and you wouldn't want nobody to every little thing you do. Like, you go somewhere, and if they feel like that you're cheating, it's just they're still working on the trust thing. But you bring up what they did prior to that. It's not healthy. That's not healthy. That's something I do not do. I won't bring it up, unless you're trying to bring it up, and then we can go there. But I don't want to be reminded of what you did. It made me feel bad. So why would I want to feel bad? And that's the misconception of a lot of people. They believe, it's something that makes them feel good to throw something in somebody else's face. No, it doesn't. It's totally opposite. That person does not want to feel or be reminded of anything. I have this pet peeve, and I'm working on it, that my past marriage, any way I felt, I'm not talking about the cheating or anything like that. What I'm talking about, the way I looked, the way I felt about myself, when I start to feel it in the present relationship, I'm trying to check myself. I didn't like me then. I don't want to try to go there with me now. It's something, and it's something connected to that relationship that's making me feel that way. And once you start making me feel that way, you start making me feel like that part of me who I was, I don't want that person. And I'm working on that. That's very hard for me. Don't bring up no reminders of my past. I left it back there. And then once you start to bring it up, and not bring it up verbally, but it's something about it that's kind of seeping over in me, I'm checking myself. And I don't even bring that up to nobody. That's something that I do within. I'm not like, I'm trying not to be the person that I was. Meaning that, I went through something emotionally, just in a relationship, not even dealing with that person, just who I was back then in the 90s. Like, say like 1990 to 1996. If I felt a certain way of who I was and didn't like it, I don't want to feel that now. The moment I feel that now in the millennium, the 2000s, the further up, I start to be like, oh, no, because I can see it's going to be a spiral effect. I remember what it did to me then. I don't want it to do to me now. And that's a relationship that I'm trying to get under control with myself. So, on that note, I may pick up again on relationships. I'm not sure. But those are truly my opinions about relationships. And just be really mindful. Learn to check yourself. Don't blame nobody else. Just check yourself. I'm not saying that person didn't do it. Believe me. But it's your perception of it. I was taught that in therapy. That's the whole thing they try to teach you in therapy. It's not that you was just a victim. You not only, I'm not going to say not made yourself a victim. Under certain circumstances, you are making yourself the victim because you have to rise above being a victim. You were a victim, but now you got to rise above it. And once you rise above it, that was your perception of it. You wanted more, you wanted out. You did these things. So that's the training that they try to teach you in therapy. I've been in therapy for years. And therapy is not a fix me, guys. It's not fix me. It's a place you go as life is occurring and you are releasing things and letting it go as much as possible. And they're teaching you techniques on how to deal with life and your perception of it. So people believe as blacks, they think they're just going to church. No. I'll do both. Or I'll just do therapy. You know what I'm saying? It helps me. I love therapy. I don't have that stigma. I don't care what people say about it. It's a place you can go. And it's a place you can vent. And it's a place that's helpful. And sometimes you have genuinely big breakthroughs. And you're like, wow, that was amazing. And one day I'm going to share that one big breakthrough I honestly saw, and it was mind-blowing to this day for me. But this is Balance 4 Sevens, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you understood and got something out of it, because I did. Just living life, I got something out of it. So I hope you do the same. Take care.